And I don't want loving myself to feel like a chore. It shouldn't be a chore.
The sun shines on all of my glory. My flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to Locs Lifestyle. Welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here and you enjoy Loc content, lifestyle content, and self-help and self-development content, then make sure to subscribe because I do a little bit of all of that. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to like this video. So you guys, it's been a minute since I dropped like a chit chat video. I think my last one, well, I did the things I don't like about the Loc community video, but as far as it relates to like the self-help type of stuff, I haven't dropped one of these videos I think since January, and mainly because at the beginning of the year I told myself that I was going to stop harping on negative things that happened in the past, and I really wanted to focus on making 2022 the best year yet. So honestly, that's what I've been doing, and I've just been very mindful and intentional about my happiness this year and how I relay that on camera. So yes, it's been a minute since I dropped one of these, but I did want to do one because when I'm led to do one, I do like to get it out and put it out there. So yeah, today I'm going to just be talking about my personal journey as it relates to self-love and confidence. And I know y'all see the title because I think I already know what I'm title of this video, but I know y'all see the title and y'all like, okay girl, but yes, let's get into it. So yeah, just a quick little life update. It's really not a life update, but like I said, this year I just really wanted to focus on my happiness, and I can honestly say that so far it's been a really good year. And I'd be hesitant to speak on stuff because like every time you speak on something, then here come the enemy throwing something in your face. But in general, it's been a really good year for me so far. I've been really optimistic, and I've just been in a really good headspace. If you are not caught up on my chit chat and transparency talk videos, I will leave the playlist down below for you guys to go check out. But basically, like last year, I was just very much in this like transition, okay? I just felt like I was shedding the old person and I was becoming this new person. Life was happening, you know, I entered my 30s and I just was in a really weird space. This year has really been about like rebuilding, replenishing, and restoring like myself to like my core self, if that makes sense. And if you are subscribed to my second channel, if you're not, you should be, but I do have a second channel where I do like affirmations, and I know I've been neglecting that channel for a little bit, but I'm gonna be back. It's just been a little busy. I've been having a lot going on, but I am gonna be back with that channel. But that's kind of where that channel came about. It's daily affirmations and Bible scriptures, and honestly I can feel like that's the kind of phase that I'm in this year. Like a lot happened and I've been slowly like restoring myself and replenishing myself as I become like a better version of myself. And so what I mean by that is like one of the things that I'm working on this year, one of my goals for this year was to prioritize my self-care and prioritize rebuilding my confidence. And it's funny to say that because I honestly didn't realize like how low my confidence had got. Like with most things in life, as I'm learning now that I'm a little older, the saying like healing is not linear, that has been, I've been hearing that a lot lately. And honestly, I don't think anything in life is linear. So when it comes to healing, healing is not linear. When it comes to your confidence, when it comes to loving yourself, when it just comes to life in general, nothing isn't linear. So as it relates to like my personal like self-worth, self-love, my own personal confidence, it wasn't that I just hated myself or I felt down about myself, but because of life happening, I just was very numb to a lot of things. And so I just wasn't caring for myself. I wasn't putting in that effort for myself. I just wasn't myself, honestly. And I knew at the time, I didn't know, but looking back, I knew that I was capable of loving myself better and feeling better about myself. And I knew that my confidence has been, and it could have been a lot better than what it was. And when I speak about confidence, I feel like a lot of times confidence is just reduced to like the physical aspect, how we look. And that's part of it, but for me, I'm talking about like total confidence. So yes, looks, but also like just internal, how you feel about yourself, the way that you speak. Do you speak up for yourself? I wasn't speaking up for myself. I was letting a lot of things fly. So when I talk about confidence in my overall journey with self-love, I mean that in totality, like how I look, the effort that I put into how I look, but also how I feel internally and how I speak on how I feel, not just to myself, but with others, the boundaries that I set with people, just being mindful of how I honor myself in different life situations. But that's kind of just like the overall gist of like kind of where I'm at. So if you are in a space where you do feel like you just kind of want to recommit yourself to yourself, and you want to work on your confidence, and you want to improve your overall love and relationship with yourself, then I got a few tips for you guys. So my first tip, if you watch any of my videos, then you kind of should know what I'm gonna say. So my first piece of advice would be to create a plan and to commit to it. So I feel like once you reach a point where you feel like something is off and something is not right and you want it to be better, then you have to consciously create a plan and commit to that plan. So like I said, for me, one of my plans was prioritize my self-care this year. It doesn't mean that I'm doing like a skincare routine with 40 different products every day. If that's what you enjoy doing, like that's a part of it. But I feel like a lot of times self-care is kind of reduced to just like kind of a surface type of thing.
Self-care is defined as the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health, the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress.
Overall, self-care just means partaking in things that make you feel good. It's gonna vary from person to person. And so for me this year, it was just really about being intentional with the time that I spend with myself. Whether that means, you know, partaking in like a beauty routine, or if that means going out and eating at a restaurant that I enjoy, or if it means going in my kitchen and making a meal that I enjoy. It's more so of like a conscious thing. Like I feel like we all partake in different activities throughout the day, throughout our weeks, throughout our lives, but we're not really conscious of it. And so for me, again, self-care is like doing things for myself, but from a conscious perspective, and doing it because I find joy in it or it makes me feel good. A lot of times we just do things because they're routine, not because we really enjoy them. And of course there's always going to be things that we have to do out of routine, but just make sure that you're pouring into yourself on a conscious level and that you're partaking in things that feel good to you. I don't think a lot of us really do that, or we feel guilty about partaking in things that feel good to us. And that's a mindset, that's a thought process that I'm learning to let go of. Like if something makes me feel good, it makes me feel good, and what's wrong with feeling good? You know, it's enough bad stuff going on in the world. Like find something that makes you feel good. And when I say that, I mean that from a healthy perspective. Partake in things that make you feel good, that's healthy. That's not hurting yourself or anyone else. But yes, again, self-care is just really a conscious decision to pour back into you. And I actually didn't have this note on my list, but another thing as it kind of relates to building my confidence. So again, I had to change my perspective and I had to be conscious and intentional about the time that I spend with myself and how I treat myself. But on the flip side of that, I also had to stop looking at pouring into other people as a negative thing. These last few years, I was stretched in so many different ways. And at first it was just kind of like, okay, this is happening, you know, let me just fall into place. But then it started to become like draining. After a while, when you constantly dealing with other people's problems, it starts to become a burden on you. And it's like, why do I feel burdened by someone else's problems? Like, I don't want to be burdened by their issues. And part of that is true. But again, I've come to a place where it's like, I feel like God put these people in my life for a reason. And God put me in their lives for a reason. And so if that is my reason, if that is a part of my purpose to help them, then I'm okay with that. But again, it's about making sure that while you are helping other people, if you are dealing with other people's problems, that you're also replenishing your own cup so that you can do it effectively. After you create your plan, after you get that perspective switch, then you have to commit to that plan and commit to that new perspective. So it doesn't mean that I forget about everything else, but before I indulge in all of those things, I have to make sure that I'm okay. And I have to commit to making sure I'm okay every day, regularly, weekly, monthly. It's not something that you do once and it's fixed. And then my next tip as it relates to like confidence and self-love is that you have to be honest. I feel like many of us think if we don't address something, then it'll just go away. And that's not always the case. And especially in my case, as it relates to like my confidence, the more I ignored it, the worse it got. So if you are trying to build your confidence or overcome something, you have to be honest about the source of that insecurity and what is causing the issue. I could write out a list of everything that was bothering me, or that was draining me, that was depleting me, that was affecting my confidence, that had me not liking myself. I could write out a list about all those things, and those things didn't get better until I actually admitted that those things were bothering me. Once you actually admit it to yourself, that's when you're able to make adjustments. As long as we're acting like it doesn't exist, then it'll just stay the same. It'll persist. For example, it's just like if you have a bald tire on your car. If you keep driving your car and acting like nothing's wrong, eventually that tire will continue to wear out. You'll either get a flat, it'll blow out, it'll cause an accident. It's the same thing with our insecurities and things that are bothering us. Until you actually acknowledge what's wrong, you can't fix the problem. So in my case, there were a few things that had my confidence kind of shaken up these last 2 years. One of it was more so of a mental thing and just life again happening, and it wasn't until like I told myself that I can no longer be in this situation and I removed myself. Until then, it didn't get better. A physical aspect is my weight gain. I've talked about it in videos. Honestly, my weight gain in general just had me with a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of mixed emotions. So there were parts of me that liked it, but then there were also sides of me that just wasn't used to it. It was out of my comfort zone. It just wasn't what I was used to looking like. In the process, I would try to make excuses for it, because honestly, some of the excuses were valid. My life did a 180 and that kind of aided in my weight gain. But it wasn't until I was really honest about myself and I told myself that no, I do not like all this weight that I gained. After I did that, that's when I was able to make the necessary adjustments. Just the basic things: eating better. From a mental aspect, just making sure I'm doing my affirmations, making sure that if I need to go buy me some new clothes to help fit my body better, then do that. Don't continue to try to force myself in clothes that don't fit. If you've had issues with your weight, you know everything that comes with it. So I had to do all of those things, but I kept trying to envision myself or treat my body or behave like it was when I was smaller, and those things no longer served my new body. So I had to make adjustments. I still haven't lost as much weight as I would like to, but I can say that I have just been feeling overall better about myself. I feel more confident when I put on my clothes and when I look in the mirror and how I view myself. And then the next thing that almost had my confidence all the way in the gutter, and some of y'all may not like this, but this is my truth and I gotta speak on it. That is my locks, okay? My locks. So I have several videos where I talk about just my overall experience with my locks, from a physical to emotional, everything. I talk about all of those things. So when I first started my lock journey, I was super excited about the journey. It was completely out of my comfort zone. Like, I did faux locks and things like that, but even when I was a natural, I wasn't like a real natural, if that makes sense. I just had natural hair, but I wouldn't have considered myself like a natural. Starting my lock journey was completely out of my comfort zone, but I was really excited about it, and I knew that I was going to go through a process, that things would change and my hair would be different than how I was used to seeing it, and I was committed to that process. You know, when I was doing my research, you know, they say it take about a year or so for your locks to mature and come into themselves, and so I was committed for that first year. For the first year and a half, I was committed. I'm like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. But like I mentioned in my year and a half lock update video, after I reached that year mark, I was in kind of like a hair rut, because like I had this idea of how my hair was gonna look after a year, and honestly, it didn't look like that. And again, I love my locks. I have enjoyed this lock journey overall, but I also would be dishonest if I didn't say I had rough days. Like, there were a lot of days where I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I don't really like the way I look. And you know, we try to love ourselves through the process, and I did that a lot of the days, but after that year mark, I'm like, dang, how many more days I gotta love myself through the process? Okay, I don't want to spend another year trying to love myself through the process, because loving myself through the process started to feel like a chore, and I don't want loving myself to feel like a chore. It shouldn't be a chore to love yourself. And so you guys know, I got my lock extensions, okay? And I'm not gonna lie, ever since I got these lock extensions, my confidence just started to kind of skyrocket. And yeah, I've been loving my hair. I have just been feeling really good about myself. I have enjoyed the way that I look. Like, just getting ready to do things is just so much easier, honestly. Like, it wasn't my locks that I didn't like, because I still have locks. It was the length. It was just a really awkward length, and it was just, I didn't like it, okay? Be honest about your source of insecurity. I didn't like that length that my locks were at, and I had to be honest about that. And once I was honest with it, I was like, okay, something's got to change. I don't want to go back to loose hair. I still want my locks, but how do I make some adjustments in this uncomfortable period that I'm in? And for me, that was lock extensions, and I am so happy with my decision with my lock extensions. But yes, I say all that to say you have to be honest. If you are pretending like nothing is bothering you, then you can't fix it. People can't help you if they don't know nothing's wrong, and you can't help yourself if you keep trying to pretend like nothing's wrong. And then the last thing I want to talk about as it relates to rebuilding your confidence is that you are allowed to change, okay? You are allowed to change. It's a natural thing. We all change physically. It's a natural part of life. And I think what holds us back sometimes is our resistance to change. We get so stuck in how we see ourselves or how we think we're supposed to be, and we never allow any room to grow and to change. I'm one of them people that I get in my head, and I can honestly say through my just life journey over these last 2 years, I've definitely become more self-aware. Like, my self-awareness is at a level that I didn't even think it could be at. I think sometimes we can be so like critical and just overanalyze every like little detail about our lives. So when I decided to get my lock extensions, there was a part of me that kind of felt like, you know, am I making the right decision? Because all I could think about is the person that I was when I first started my lock journey, and how I thought that I was gonna go through this process, and I felt like that I was changing, that, you know, I switched things up and I wasn't doing what I said that I was gonna do. And so I started to feel bad about that. You know, it's good to be self-aware, but it shouldn't get to the point where you start to get in your own way. And that's kind of how I felt like I was starting to live my life. So many things were just happening, and then I was just like hypercritical of like every little thing. And the more hypercritical I was, then the more hesitant I was to make decisions, and the more hesitant I was to make different changes. But life was still changing, and then in the process, like, I was losing my happiness and my confidence. You gotta sometimes just like release that control. The whole living in ease thing is really popular right now, but it's like really true. Like, you really have to release that urge to try to dictate and control every scenario, and just flow. If something is going to help boost your confidence and it's not hurting you and it's not hurting anyone else, then go ahead and go for it. If it's going to make you feel good, do it. And that's kind of how I have to say, like, with my hair, do it. Or you have to have that same like perspective, like with everything, honestly, in life. I think so many of us are so like woke. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but everybody's so woke now that we don't just allow ourselves to be without like over analyzing the situation. It was a TikTok I seen, and I'm gonna try to insert it. I think it has background music in it, so hopefully I could play it so that it doesn't get copywritten. If I have to add a little music on top of it, bear with me, but I'm gonna insert it here.
Self-awareness is canceled. The spiritual journey is over. I'm gonna get back on my Corvette. I've become so aware of what's going on in this realm and the next that nothing is fun anymore. I'm out here not enjoying myself because I'm taking life seriously, and it doesn't matter. There is COVID outside. There is war outside. The climate is in danger. People are dying in poverty, and I'm not even enjoying myself because I'm here being self-aware. It's Starbucks and vibes from now on because I can't do this.
So yes, like the video says, self-awareness and a spiritual journey is canceled, and I don't think you can ever truly cancel it. I feel like once you like reach a certain level of self-awareness, I don't think you can ever just fully cancel it or let that go. But it's like we spend so much time so aware of everything that we don't even enjoy ourselves. We don't enjoy our time here on life. We don't enjoy our time here on earth in this lifetime. Like, we don't enjoy nothing. And so I've been really working on letting that go and just allowing life to just be and just to have fun. And once I started to welcome that into my life, like, I've been having a good time. These last few months have been good. I have just really been enjoying my days. We should really celebrate life every day. When I was in Cancun, I was on the jet ski and I just looked up in the sky and I'm just like, oh my God, look at the sky. Like, I don't know, I was just so in awe of the sky. And I'm not really a nature person like that in general, but I was just really in awe. And I was just thinking about the scripture, like, it's the song Lord You're Mighty, but it's taken from a scripture. But the songs say like, oh Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. You created your glory above the heavens and the earth. When I think of all you made, the sun, the moon, and the stars, no praise is high enough to express how great you are. Like, literally that song, as soon as I looked up in the sky, that song came into my spirit and I was just like, oh my God. And even now, me and my friend went out the other night just for dinner and drinks and just to have a good time. And we were just talking and we were just saying like, man, so many people just don't really take in or appreciate life. I don't know, we were both just kind of in a mindset of like, it just feels so good to just be out and just living and just experiencing life with your loved ones and just enjoying life. If y'all don't take anything from this video, enjoy your life, enjoy yourself, enjoy the people in your life. Like I said, loving yourself shouldn't be a chore. Like, we're allowed to exist and to do things without everything having just such a super deep meaning or purpose. Like, it's okay to just be. I think that's all I want to say. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. That is going to be it for this video. If you have anything you would like to add to the conversation, leave it down below. Per usual, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Snatched by Sharmel, and I'll see you all in my next video.